Well. Bitcoin, huh? Tonight's video is going to put it into perspective. Are we heading into a new Bitcoin ETF play? Let me explain. So the logic suggests that everyone is now waiting for this new Bitcoin strategic reserve to come into action. Who's the only one that can get it sorted? Donald Trump. So are we going into what we had before with regards to the Bitcoin ETF? Now, you remember what Bitcoin did then. Bitcoin was starting to slowly climb. Then the ETF got rolled out and bang, we saw Bitcoin make that claim towards that 70,000, new all-time high taken, and then Bitcoin just shut up and didn't do anything. But is the strategic reserve going to bring in a different story? Because that is the biggest endorsement that crypto could ever get, especially Bitcoin. Let's break it all down, guys. It starts off with Senator Loomis. She's come out saying that we need to get this strategic reserve story nipped in the bud. Now, let's just be patient a second. As much as she's banging on about this needs to happen, it has to come from the top boy, Mr. Donald Trump. And he's already favoring crypto anyway. So it looks like it's pretty much done. And that is true according to CZ. He's actually turned around and said, that's it now. US Bitcoin reserve is pretty much done and dusted. So where does that leave us with Bitcoin? Well, let's just go into the charts right now. Look at that. Nice little flavoursome move to the upside. To only come back down again. Shake out all the weak retail traders who've been using mad leverage because they buy when prices are going up. And then the smart dudes who use the hybrid system get ready to buy as it's dropping. Why? Because the vector candle principle comes into play. Speaking of which, Platinum members had this move already covered with Bitcoin, although it was a kind of a tricky one, to be fair. Check this out. We wanted to see Bitcoin from this range, and I said, make sure that you absorb the idea that Bitcoin could effectively come down to then make the move to the upside, okay? And the entry points were at 103.63, and then, of course, 103.906. Continuation to the upside to take out targets 1 and 2, with the hope that we could see 108, which hasn't actually come into play just yet. But we go and have a look at Bitcoin, and you can't complain about that, ladies and gentlemen. There's your little flip to the downside, little W formation. You hear me banging on about that all the time. And then the nice reversal to the upside, which would effectively take it towards the 106.843. So our targets were pretty much done and dusted today. So happy days with Bitcoin. And we even go to Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum was like pretty much given up. I was going to get rid of Ethereum, but then we go over to Ethereum and then say to ourselves, okay, you done pretty well. Well, nah, she hasn't really done too well, and she's been very, very choppy. But nonetheless, Ethereum did really do well in the sense she came up towards our projected target of 3,300, and then she went on to take out the top side of 3,297. So she didn't quite take our target, but nonetheless, we missed it by $3. So I can deal with that. And then, of course, we go over to Solana, and we wanted to see Solana try and make a reversal to the upside. Unfortunately, Solana didn't really give us that flavor. All she's done is just slowly climb, and she's not really done anything. So that was an example of the kind of setups that I provide for anyone that is a Platinum member. But why does that help you? Well, it helps you in the sense that you'll have a better understanding of what the hybrid system is, how I look at the hybrid system, and how I'm able to try and project price on where it's going to go or likely to head into. Because we'll never know exactly what it's going to do, but we will always set ourselves up in a way where we can assume that this is likely to happen, because trading is all probabilities. Speaking of which, what's the probability that we actually get on with China? China's ready to negotiate with the US government officials to handle the trade differences. This is massive. Because if China is able to negotiate a certain trade-off with the US, then that means they're not going to get penalized as much in the fact that Trump wants to put a 10% tariff effectively as of the 1st of February. China's like, don't do that, man. Come on, we're the world's factory. I mean, just make it a little bit easier for us. Remember, if these tariffs all come into play, especially the ones in Mexico and Canada, I think they're going to get the short end of the stick, given that it's a 25% tariff increase. So, I mean, come on. But $3 trillion over the next 10 years, that's not bad at reducing the deficit of the United States debt. Flipping it over to the stock market, well, look, NASDAQ's been doing very, very well today, and it was very choppy earlier on, but I was projecting that NASDAQ was going to make a move to the upside. I shared this earlier on to the Platinum members, and we wanted to see it come back down towards this region right here, around the 21,903. I took the same setup on my account right here, And we're currently sat in £5,100 profit. I'm just letting this one run up until tonight because what I've done is I've taken the trade on a live account right here. And I've also gone on a options call as well. So I opened some options on NASDAQ, which are in about £1,600 worth of profit right now. So we're going to be assuming that NASDAQ is going to continue with its narrative to the upside, especially now that Trump has pretty much turned around and said that relationship with China is something that they could actually be working on because, as I said earlier on, over here, where is it? China ready to negotiate with the US government. This is big news. And if the US market can see that there's going to be a bit of a relationship going up with China, then that means Chinese-based stocks are going to do all right in the US stock market because it's filled with them. To the sum of around 234 Chinese stocks with a market cap of around 800 billion, yeah, it does make sense to actually have a decent relationship with the world's factory. Speaking of which, going back into the price action of it all, what we got to look for right now with Bitcoin is this. Bitcoin has done a good job of making the move to the upside today, okay? Now, this vector candle right here, for those of you who are new and you don't know what the hybrid system is about, this is the green vector candle. Now, if you want to learn more about it, just get to the Traders Reality website and take the free course. It's right here. Where is it? Right there. No, it's not. 3, 2, 1. Tino appears now. There we go. So this is breaking down the hybrid system. Did this last night to me, man. Take the free course and you'll learn about the hybrid system. You'll learn about the vector candles because this next logic is going to make sense to you. So the green vector candle that came into play right here, it effectively ended up being a move back down again. Okay. So anyone that went long here got smacked in the face because price came back down. However, anyone in the Platinum membership and in the Discord knows that the green vector candle is all about making sure you wait for the recovery of the vector in the Brinks. And that's the PDF that I talk about in here. This is the Brinks box strategy. And that's something that we dive into. So if you're going to take a trade and you see a green vector candle, you'll come to this PDF and you'll be like, right, what does it say about the Brinks box? Well, it effectively reveals to you what you need to be aware of. And inside of that, it would be telling you that you've got to be mindful of the vector candles that have not been yet recovered in the Brinks. Because if they come back down and then they come straight back up, that pretty much solidifies the idea that the move could sustain itself to the upside, which is what it's done. But what am I going to talk to you about right now? This is where it gets important for the holders. Daily time frame. Every single one of you are now looking at the chart thinking there is a possibility that Bitcoin could continue to the upside. That is true. With the Bitcoin strategic reserve hype behind the scenes, as in that could be the new Bitcoin ETF hype, because the same hype happened last time. Got a new Bitcoin ETF. Awesome, awesome. Everyone's plowing into the charts. Bitcoin goes sideways, then it comes into action, then it goes to the upside. That could be the same policy that's happening right now. So what do you need to be mindful of? Check this out. As long as price stays above the 5 and 13 EMA, which is this yellow line right here, 5 EMA, 13 EMA. As long as price can close above these two moving averages, it gives us the idea that price is continuing with its momentum to the upside. So that means that the next daily candle, in principle, should end up leading Bitcoin higher. You really want to be paying attention to this. And whenever you come to the chart and you're looking to make a purchase of Bitcoin on spot, make reference to the 5 and 13 EMA, because it's going to tell you if momentum is favoring upside movement or if it's starting to slow down. Now, with that being said, what you've got to look out for is this. If price comes down into the 5 and 13 EMA, something like this, and starts to stay in that range, wait for the next day. Because the next day's candle will give you the clue as to whether or not it's liking this range and it wants to move away from it, or it's going to stay in that range with the potential of the next day's candle to go lower. Because that's going to save you the difference of you buying Bitcoin expensive or cheap, okay? You might want to wait. But as it stands right now, the candlestick is showing the promise that Bitcoin is on the trajectory to climb higher. Again, Bitcoin strategic reserve is the thing right now. So everyone's going to be jumping in. So get ready for some volatility. It might be a bit choppy, but Bitcoin will end up making the move. And if Bitcoin does achieve this and they do pass the bill for the Bitcoin strategic reserve, well, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get all your hedge fund managers. You're going to go and get your pension fund managers. They are all going to get involved in this Bitcoin strategic reserve. Remember, look over here. Where is it? We've got real estate firm Fathom. They can now add Bitcoin to its balance sheet, because they said that Bitcoin was a hedge against inflation. You start putting Bitcoin in your balance sheets, that means you're going to want to try and buy yourself a decent amount of Bitcoin so that if everything's going down, the logic says that Bitcoin in principle should be moving up. I'm telling you, once the strategic reserve comes into play, it's the Bitcoin ETF rally all over again. That should then take Bitcoin to roughly around $120,000 a coin before we then get a little bit of a corrective move back down again. If you've enjoyed tonight's video, be sure to like and subscribe, guys. and I will be speaking to you all tomorrow morning. Take care of yourselves, gang. Peace.